Hello and welcome to the Tech with Heart show. I am your host, Michelle Calloway. Tech with Heart is all about enlightening and empowering small business owners to be able to embrace technologies and systems and strategies that will help them to be competitive in today's rapidly changing digital business landscape. And one of the ways that we can gain visibility online is through a very powerful, very powerful tool called Publicity. So today's topic is publicity tips to boost leads, visibility, and profits with none other than the media magnate herself, Jill Lublin. Jill Lublin is a world-renowned publicity expert, international speaker, and four-time best-selling author. She has made thousands of stage appearances alongside celebrities such as Tony Robbins, Barbara Cochran, and Jack Canfield, just to name a few. She has worked with over 100,000 clients implementing her signature formula for getting media attention, creating next-level visibility in the marketplace that results in boosted sales. So help me welcome to the Tech with Heart stage, Jill Lublin.
Thank you, Michelle. I am so delighted to be here with you. It's always a blessing.
We are so appreciative of you taking your time to share your magnificent insights to our small business community, because I know 100% publicity is something everybody should be doing. Many of them are not. Many of them don't know how. So that's where we're going to ask you and kind of pick your brain a little bit today. So let's first talk about defining what is publicity and then why is it so powerful, Jill?
Well, thank you. You know, publicity is happening whether you all like it or not, because here's what happens. It happens from the minute you walk out your door into a Zoom room, into a physical room, on an airplane, at the coffee shop. You're always doing publicity. So being clear about your message is key, and we'll get into some more of that. But really, I just want you all to be aware, publicity is always happening. Yes, and then it creates your expertise, drives up your visibility, gives you credibility, gets you leads, referrals, and profits, and frankly, elevates your status because you have earned media, which puts you to the top of your competition.
You mentioned earned media, and I'm so glad you did, because a lot of times people see publicity, they think that, well, what did they do how did they pay for that placement kind of thing? Can you just quickly explain the difference between paid publicity and earned publicity?
Well, paid publicity is called advertising. I mean, listen, if you pay to be featured somewhere, beautiful, but it is advertising. Let's just be straight about that. Publicity is when someone invites you on the show, Michelle, like you invited me on your show. That's publicity. And so when you are invited, when you are considered the expert, when a magazine or newspaper or radio or TV or podcast interviews you, when you're featured in a blog, that's all publicity. And yes, you earn it because you're an expert, and it's easier than you think, just saying.
So I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to share. So why don't you share with us some of your really simple strategies?
Absolutely, because it's all about guerrilla publicity, right? Simple, effective strategies that use time and imagination as opposed to a lot of money, honey. But let me say, there are some simple things you can do. One of which is associate yourself with a holiday. Okay, so let's say my divorce coach that I work with, for instance, we actually have National Parenting Day, where she talks about how do you get divorced and still have your children be okay, right? And she does Valentine's Day for how to fall out of love, and great tips for that. I mean, all of these are important, but I want you to start thinking differently and expand your mindset for what's possible in your publicity without being just so dogged determined on this is what I do. And I think that would be really helpful for many of you. Also using that as a resource, nationaldaycalendar.com, to stimulate some more thoughts about how you can be different for your publicity. Okay, so that's one big one that I think really helps a lot. The other one I love is to use what I like to call everything you've got. So if you're a woman, International Women's Day, we could talk about that. One of my clients, she's a consultant, she's a Christian woman. So we have Christian women's media, we have Christian media, and then we have women's media. That's 3 places that she can use using everything she's got in her business consulting, right? We don't have to go down the business lane. We can go down the other lanes. My Hispanic client, we were really successful with Hispanic Heritage Month. I think you all get the idea, right? Use everything you've got and all parts of who you are. It makes a real difference.
No, I love that so much, because when you said don't necessarily need to go down the business lane, a lot of times we're so like just fired up about what we've created in the business world and how it's going to just impact people in such positive ways. And that seems to be the narrative. But when you take aside the humanness of who you are, who your team is, and leveraging that and using it all that you've got, because any publicity that you get around, some maybe some social work, good work, charity work that you've done on the side, guess what? You get to plug the fact that you are the owner of said business. It's brilliant. And it's just, that's what makes the news, newsworthiness. Can you talk about newsworthiness a little bit?
Well, I believe personally that everybody is newsworthy. And that's such a great point, Michelle, about, if let's say you're on the board of a nonprofit, you can use your local media to publicize the fact that you just got really, what would it be called? Not elected, but you volunteered for a board, or you just got picked for a board. Because in every business journal across the world, frankly, there is a section in the business journal called People in the News. Well, you're all people in the news, right? You're watching this, you're probably a people. And I think that that's really key, that you look to local media to also get that zing out, right? Because what's great about local media is that your local ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, whatever you watch, whatever is in your local market, they need experts and people just like you, right? And there are business sections in your local newspaper. There are business journals hammering and needing the content and the creation of who you are and what you offer. All of it is good news.
What about asking somebody to help nominate you for an award? Can you kind of speak to that? Like, is it good publicity practice?
Yes, and funny you should mention that, because one of my publicity clients, actually, I reached out to her. I said, I just see there's a Woman of Distinction Awards in Marin County, and I'm going to nominate you, and we're going to fill out the form and handle this, right? Now, she had to do some focus around that, but I love awards. And it is so fun you talked about this, because recently in my publicity workshop, I actually had everybody do that right there in the workshop. And that was find awards that they could be, well, given to, or someone else would nominate you. I love awards. Why? Because when you get it, then you can create more publicity. And the thing I want all of you to really get is that publicity begets publicity begets publicity. It's like a snowball. And I'm from Michigan, so I can talk about snow. It creates momentum for you. And as you build more publicity, think of a snowball. It keeps compacting and building and growing and growing. And then we have a snowman. And that's a beautiful thing, right? So you keep growing your publicity. And that's really how I want you to think about publicity, to be consistent and persistent in your pursuit of publicity.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you can use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revelio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revelio.com, and together we will make your business come alive.
I like that so much, the consistent and persistent. Be intentional. I remember when I was first building my for-profit company, and I was doing some pretty amazing things. And you just don't even think about it. Does it come to your mind that I should be applying for awards in this niche versus this niche versus this niche? Because
Yes.
that is incredible publicity when it comes through. It is phenomenal, and it sticks with you long term too. Wow, you can say, I've heard of people who had the Lifetime Presidential Achievement Award. I mean, that is some big accolades. Use that, leverage that, help people understand who you are more, because of these awards or these accolades that you get, because you may bring a lot of clout to your team, and people may see that clout and quickly overcome any objections that they may have about hiring you versus some of your competitors. So I
And
love
let
it so much. Okay. Do you have any other strategies before we move into the how part a little bit more?
Well, let me say for you, Michelle, it's never too late, right? And for all of us, I mean, the reality is let's look at awards right now that are appropriate for you right now. And the reality is until it ain't news till someone prints it, right? So look back at some of the things each one of you have done and what has happened that perhaps you haven't been talking about. And now's the moment. It's not too late. Okay. So I just want to say that to all of you, that it's time to look at what you can promote right now, and let's up your visibility now.
That's reassuring. Thank you for helping us to be reminded of that it's never too late. That's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit now, if you're open to it, Jill. Let's move into, okay, we talked about some strategies, some different places where you can maybe go to get some visibility, but what are some techniques to go and make those things happen?
So one of them is be clear on your message. And, you could call that technique. Yes, because the reality is when you know your message, here's the good news. You won't be knocked off center. Like if somebody throws a curveball at you, you'll just, if you watch politicians, they do this beautifully. And let me just tell you, they have spent millions of dollars on publicity consulting to understand how to do this, as well as celebrities who also, if you notice, after a movie, go 14 hours in a hotel room with media after media after media, interviewing them about their latest movie and trying to look fresh in between it all. That's all publicity. And by the way, it's written into their contract that they must do it. That's how important publicity is for success of the projects that you are working on, small or large. So you are never too small to do publicity. I want to just say that, because if you're a one-person business listening to this, if you get out there first in front of somebody else who does the same thing and you receive publicity, it elevates you and people go, I've heard of you somewhere. And so some strategies specifically are utilizing that use everything you've got piece, because that'll also put you in places that perhaps you hadn't thought to go before. So I really hope that opens your mind for that. And then I want you to look at Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and let's find some podcasts for you specifically, like type in your keywords and let's see what shows up, because podcasts are a great place for many of you to start. They're easier, it's quicker and simple, more so to get in them. And start local, like we talked about. I think that will make a big difference for sparking your, shall I say, quick focus and the media saying yes to you.
Yes.
Oh, and
go ahead. I'm sure you can give us some more, because you are just a wealth of knowledge here. So keep on going, Jill. Keep on going.
let me just say, speaking of yes, I think, Michelle, listen, there's all kinds of ways to get media, and saying yes is one of the keys. I remember a client of mine who is a corporate trainer, in food, right? And what was so fun about her is she helped team members come together for food and preparation and team building through food creation. Okay, great stuff. Well, she's studied with me in my Media Mastery Intensive and other programs, and she knew to just say yes. And this producer at NBC Nightly News calls her, found her on Google because she did all the right things with getting out there and creating systems just like what we're talking about. And he said to her, listen, I'm going to do a Valentine's Day show, and I'd love for you to do aphrodisiac cooking. And I remember she calls me up. She goes, Jill, I have to tell you this, producer. And she told me the whole story. And all I could hear was you in the back of my head. She points like this. She goes, to just say yes, just say yes. She goes, I didn't even know what aphrodisiac cooking was. I didn't know how to spell it. And I certainly didn't have any recipes for it. And that's not my real thing I do. But because you taught me that, I said yes. And do you know what? She got a 4.5-minute piece on NBC Nightly News. If she had paid for it, Michelle, it would have cost her in advertising $720,000. Okay, $720,000. It was completely free. Not only did she rock the house and did a great job, looked up aphrodisiac cooking, came up with some recipes. We talked it through for how to get her message right. And you know what? Imagine this. She walks into any client and says, I've been on NBC Nightly News. It's in the bag. It doesn't matter if it was exactly what she's there for. And I really want all of you to hear that. What the media cares about is you showing up in your best. You control the message. And then super great news. You can use this everywhere to really elevate your position and have you be picked because somebody says, I Googled you. And I found that you were featured in, this happened to another consultant in Minneapolis. And following the system of publicity and using everything she got in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, one sentence. She walks in the interview and the guy says, I saw you've been featured, one sentence in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. And you know what? She was up against 2 other people, one of whom was more experienced, one of whom was a lesser fee than hers. He picked her because of her publicity. She was credible. She was immediately an expert because of her publicity. That's powerful. Got her a $35,000 consulting gig. That's the power of return on investment with media. Very wonderful how it keeps, I just like to say it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It really, really does. Like I said, it did, like she even mentioned earlier, that it's never too late to go ahead and start, even if, you've done something pretty amazing, and you want to talk about it, that happened a year or so, or even more ago. I know, Jill, you have a list of a lot of resources that we could utilize and leverage for free. And then I know you also do offer amazing coaching because you've been my coach. And I just truly value the quality, that you really work with people and you're just their cheerleader for lifetime, which is amazing. Can you just maybe mention a few resources that are free for how we can kind of get started, and maybe even mention something that regarding how to get in touch with the reporters of your local news? And then we'll move quickly because we need to make sure we're monitoring our time here. So yeah, just mention a few resources and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, Jill?
Absolutely. Thank you. So check out, I actually created a free gift for you. It is an action guide that's loaded with even more great publicity tips for you and super fun, a free publicity masterclass right with me. So it's a double gift because I like to give a lot. And you go to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. I know it'll also be in the show notes, so please go check that out. Check out JillLublin.com. Lots of L's in there, JillLublin.com. And lots of excellent free resources there too. So I know that will really help all of you. And let's get you started in this wonderful world of publicity so that you can be successful and get your message heard.
Yes, because like you heard from Jill's mouth, that it is like it's the gift that keeps on giving. It really increases your credibility online so that people, let's just say you're a coach or a business, and you provide a service. You probably have competitors, and you having publicity and your competitors not having publicity could be the differentiator. That's just easily makes it so simple for somebody to say, yes, yes, Jill's the one I want to work with, right? That is so valuable. It is the most underutilized marketing tool. And so we here at Tech with Heart, we're here to help ensure your success in a rapidly changing digital era. What do people do always first when they have a question? They ask Siri or Alexa or Google. It is so important that you be in those things that respond to their search queries if it's, something related to you. OMG, and be able to Google yourself and just bam, holy cow, look at all of that amazing publicity. Wow, I look like a rock star. Yeah. All right, Jill, back to you. What is a thought or a phrase that you want to leave impressed upon those that are tuning into this episode right now?
That your message matters. That who you are as a contribution and your influence and gift into the world, publicity is going to give you that influence and impact that has your contribution be multiplied forever, really, and really have that consistency factor, but have people be able to find you, very importantly. Your message matters. That's the important thought.
It really, really does. So if you need some ideas, take advantage of Jill's free gift. And if you are a small business owner and you just really want to be amongst a community of innovative but yet heart-centered business professionals where we can help you leverage technology and automate your systems and just really grow through strategies and, like a lot of get your answers to the questions that you're just dying to know, and go check us out at techwithheartnetwork.com because we're seriously here to help. We are a nonprofit organization that is more focused on your success than, lining our pockets with your money that, you're struggling to figure out how to, allocate properly. That is not at all who we are. We are all about success first. And we do it with heart, and we make sure that you use your technology with heart as well so that human beings stay at the center of everything, right? Human connection is where it's at. So I want to thank Jill Lublin for showing up today here as our guest. I want to thank you for tuning in right now, and here's to your success.
Your story needs to be seen and heard, and your brand needs to be revealed. Revealio elevates purpose-driven businesses into the spotlight through video storytelling, augmented reality video marketing, and professional website design. Get discovered online or in the news. Be featured in national magazines or host your own TV, podcast, or live radio show. Together, we make your brand come alive. All it takes is Revealio. Visit Revealio.com to get started today. Minority and service disabled veteran owned.